Amy Esther here, and I have several chronic illnesses, including POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, which causes orthostatic intolerance. So I wanted to share with you how I am able to go shopping, go to the zoo, do those type of standing activities while living with orthostatic intolerance. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Amy Esther. If you're watching this, I assume you probably know what orthostatic intolerance is, but if not, it is when you get symptoms upon standing. So I get very dizzy, my legs start to ache, all of my muscles ache actually. I have digestion problems. I have lots of different symptoms when I stand up. And I have postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. And so it is really hard for me to go out and go shopping or take my daughter to the zoo or to the aquarium or to the park because I just always end up sick. So I have been working on finding some different methods so that I can still go out and do the things that I want to do while living with this chronic illness. So I wanted to share some of my tips today. Okay, let's talk about before you go on your adventure. Before you go shopping, before you go to the zoo, before you go to the museum, wherever you want to go, I would suggest going to the gym and working out your muscles. So avoid cardio. I actually have a video on how I exercise with orthostatic intolerance. So you can go watch that video. I'll link it below and then you can see kind of some different ideas of what you can do. But I would suggest doing some upper body strength exercises before you go out walking and to whatever activity you want to do, because that gets your blood moving up to the top of your body and it gets your muscles working. So I have found that after I do some strength exercises, I feel a lot better for an extended period of time after I do those. And so it helps me be able to go longer at whatever activity we are doing. I've just found that I can last a lot longer if I have exercised, strengthened my muscles before I went. And that sounds crazy because you're going to think, oh, I need to rest before I go do this activity. But I would definitely suggest the opposite. Go and work out those muscles first. And I would also suggest drinking a huge glass of water and electrolytes, having a big salty meal as well before you go. So get yourself a huge water bottle, drink as much as you can before you leave, and get some electrolytes in you and just have the saltiest meal that you can think of before you go. During your activity, I would suggest bringing that giant water bottle that we just talked about. Bring it with you and drink as much water as you can while you are there doing the activity. Even if you're not thirsty, just try to keep drinking water. Midway through, I would have a salty snack. So I took my daughter to the zoo a few weeks ago for her birthday, and I just got a salt pretzel and I asked for extra salt on it. So I had that midway between like when we were about halfway through our zoo experience and I was starting to crash, and that definitely helped me get a lot more energy to continue moving. The other thing that you need to do while you are there, or at least what I suggest you do, I am not perfect, I don't have all the answers, but these are just my suggestions, which is to take breaks frequently and to sit down as frequently as you can. So if there are benches, I'm going to just use the zoo example because that's what I've done most recently, but like every time there was a bench near some animals, while my daughter's grandma and grandpa took her to look at the animals, I would kind of stay back and just sit for a little bit every once in a while. I didn't do it on every single bench, but just anytime I was starting to feel a little achy and fatigued, I would go sit down for a little bit and put my legs up. So if I just sat down normally, it didn't actually help that much. So I would put my legs up and rest, get my blood moving a little bit, drink some water, have a little salty snack, just to give myself a little rest in between our walks. Now, while we were walking, or if there was an animal that I wanted to see and look at and stand for, I would do some invisible exercises. So I would squeeze my bum. I would just like squeeze my butt muscles and my leg muscles really tight. I would do some calf raises or just go up on my toes and just squeeze all the muscles in my legs. Also squeezing my ab muscles and any upper body muscles helped a lot. So I would do those types of things while I was standing to get my blood pumping back up to the top of my body. And I totally forgot to mention this because to me it's just super obvious and I just do it automatically, which is wear compression socks. I personally wear compression socks all day, every day. If I don't, I am not getting anything done. I will be in bed all day. So that's why I totally forgot to mention it. But I would wear compression socks. I wear 30 to 40. I think it's mmHg. I don't know what the units are on it, but it's 30 to 40. Those are the ones I wear. I have a POTS must-haves video where I share my favorite products, and I share my favorite socks, the ones that I personally use every day. So if you want, I will link that video below and you can watch it. But those are some of the other products that I would probably take with me. But I would definitely wear some compression socks, the tightest ones that you can find. And the next thing that I would make sure you do is set yourself a time limit. So you know your body better than I do, or anyone. Yeah, I don't even know you, but you know your body really well. I know my body really well. So I know for me how long I could spend at the zoo or shopping, because I just know my body. I know how much I can take. And for me, like 2 hours is my max. That's like, if I really want, it's my daughter's birthday, like for the zoo, I was like, okay, 2 hours is the top of my max. But usually I try to stay around an hour or an hour and a half. And that's my personal, what I found with doing all these tricks. If I don't do any of these tricks, I can only make it like a half hour. But if I'm squeezing my butt muscles, if I'm having lots of salt and water, I can make it a very max of an hour and a half to 2 hours. So I would just make sure that your activities don't exceed that time. Just try to find yourself a time limit and don't do any activities that exceed that time. If not, maybe you get yourself a wheelchair or one of those riding shopping carts or something. Try to find something like that so that you can sit during some of your stay if you need to be there longer than your max time. But I would recommend not going over that max amount that you can handle. So after you have done your activity, you're probably not feeling super good. And so here's what I suggest after. I would make sure that you have a rest day after. And for me, it depends on how much time. Again, it's kind of like that max time thing. So if I'm out walking for 2 hours or more, then I definitely need an entire day the next day for rest. So we took our daughter to the zoo on a Saturday because I knew Sunday I could rest all day. But if I'm only gone for like an hour, then I just need to know that the rest of that night or the next 3 or 4 hours, I needed to rest after that. So make sure you have your max time of when you're out, but then you need to have your rest time after. And for me, it definitely is a lot longer rest time than my time out, which is why sometimes it's not worth it to me. If my friends want to go shopping and I really don't want to go that bad, but I just want to be with my friends, I usually will tell them no and try to find something else to do because it's just not worth it to me to have to rest for an entire day after that. But then there's times like when I took my daughter to the zoo when it definitely is worth it to take her there and feel sick that next day. So make sure you have that rest time. During that rest time, keep your feet elevated. I would also suggest exercising on that rest day as well. Doing strength exercises, avoid cardio again, but try to do more strength exercises. But that next day after you have done that activity, drink lots and lots of water, lots of salt and electrolytes. As we all know with POTS, those are things you need. And then I also drink vitamin C. I don't know why, but that just really helps me to get my energy back. So those are my tips and tricks if you want to go out and do some kind of a walking, slow activity when you have orthostatic intolerance or POTS or dysautonomia, whatever you have. I hope that these tips were helpful for you. If you have any more tips for me, I would love to hear them. So please leave me a comment below if you have any more ideas for me and for anyone else watching this video about things that we can do to prolong those activities that are out walking and that are really difficult for us. And I hope to see you on my next video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, especially if you have POTS, because I make lots of video about things that you can do with orthostatic intolerance or POTS. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.